Hi everyone, it's Lindsay and I'm here today for the Clair Stamps January new release blog hop. Now for the blog hop today, I'm going to be using this brand new stamp set. It is called Dino Love and it is perfect for Valentine's Day. It's so cute. But I'm going to be starting out with that. Now I've done a little bit of die cutting beforehand. I've cut a white piece of cardstock, just a regular plain white cardstock with this square die, and then I've used a couple size smaller rectangle die to go ahead and cut out this red frame to go around my white cardstock frame. And I just did a little bit of die cut inlay for that. I've got many videos on that if you want to check those out. But the first thing I'm going to do is load up my MISTI with these two papers. Now first I'm going to go ahead and put my white rectangle down, and then I'm going to place that red rectangle frame over it just so I have my stamp position inside that frame and I'm not cutting anything off here. So I'll go ahead and line both of those up in the bottom right hand corner of my MISTI, and I'll use my magnets to hold those in place while I am working. Now I'm going to be using the two dinosaurs from the Dino Love stamp set. And they're such a great size. All you really need is these two little guys and your sentiment, and you've got your entire card. They're a nice size to fill up your entire card front. So I'm going to place these down, one on the right hand side, one on the left, and then I'm going to be using the sentiment "Roar means I love you" in dinosaur. I think it's so cute. But to get these straight, I want them to be kind of on the same plane here. So I'm using my T-square ruler, just bumping their little feet up against this just to make sure they're nice and straight on my cardstock. The male dinosaur is going to be a little bit bigger than the female, so he will be a little bit taller. And then she has her bow on top of her head, so they'll end up being about the same height. But that T-square ruler just makes sure that I get them perfectly straight across from each other. So I went ahead and closed the lid of my MISTI and picked those stamps up, and I'll be using my alcohol markers to color these in, so I'll use Memento Tuxedo Black ink to stamp these in. Now this is the first time I'm stamping these stamps at all. I didn't condition them at all. I'm just going to ink them up and stamp them down. But because I'm using my MISTI, I can go ahead and restamp these, and I will do that one time. You'll see whenever I stamp this out the first time, their little eyes don't get quite as dark as I would like them to be. Now I could fix that with a pen. However, it's easier for me while I'm using my MISTI just to go ahead and restamp these really quickly. So I close the lid of my MISTI. I'll give them a firm press with my hands. I'll lift that lid up, and you can see the little dinosaur on the right. His eye looks good. My little girl dinosaur, I didn't ink up her eye as well as I should have. So I'll just go ahead and restamp these a second time, but it will be a perfect restamping because I am using this tool. Now you could by all means stamp these two little dinosaurs in the exact same place and get the exact same look with an acrylic block. But I thought I just have this tool, why not use it? So I'm going to be doing just a little bit of two-tone stamping here. So I'm going to use a piece of painter's tape. I'll cover up that roar on the top. I'll stamp it in a different color. But right below that, I'm going to stamp the rest of the sentiment in black ink. So I'm inking it up in Memento Tuxedo Black ink again. I'll remove that masking tape on top and just close this lid and stamp it down. And then I'll have the bottom of my sentiment ready to go in black ink. Now sometimes these stamps get a little sticky, and my magnets aren't quite strong enough. I don't know if I need more of them or what, but my papers want to move. So I like to use my bone folder, just stick it right in between the slot there, and then I can hold my papers in place while I lift my lid up. Now for the roar part of the sentiment, I'm inking it up in red dye ink. I have masked off the bottom part of the sentiment now, inking that up with some red ink. I'll remove that tape, and then I can stamp this down, and I've got a two different colored sentiment here. So this is just a little something fun, really easy to do, but it adds a little bit more interest to a clean and simple card. So for my coloring, like I said before, I'm going to be using my alcohol markers. I'll be using several different greens, about 6 here. I wanted my dinosaurs to be two different colors of green, or two different shades of green. So I've got some different greens going on my little female dinosaur here, and I'll blend those all out as I go along. And I like to start with my lightest, then I go in with my medium, and then my darkest, and then I come back in with my medium, and then one final coloring with my lightest. And then I'll let that dry. If I don't feel like it's blended enough, I will come back in with my lighter color again and just continue to add layers until I feel like it is blended throughout my dinosaur. Now, with these markers, I do let these dry in between layers. Sometimes if I feel like it's getting too saturated, too wet, the paper, then I'll go ahead and let these dry between layers. Now for a little bit of texture, I'm just using these different markers in browns, blacks, and darker greens, and adding some little dots to the backs and the bellies, and also their little snouts or faces as well. Just anywhere where the shading would be a little bit darker, I've added some dots. I'll do the same thing on the male dinosaur. I'm just using darker colors because he is a darker green. And I also colored her little bow in with some pinks and reds. Now to add just a little bit more depth to this little image here, I'm going to add some shadows underneath, and I'm using some creams and grays for that. And I'm also adding shadowing around the bottom portion of that roar sentiment, just because it goes straight across where the dinosaurs are from each other. Now in this Dino Love stamp set, there are these 3 little hearts, and there are different sizes. You've got a larger, medium, and a smaller one. And I'm going to use that same red dye ink I used for the sentiment below, and I'm going to stamp quite a few of these little hearts around the dinosaurs. I love these little images that they put in the actual stamps. You can do so many things with them, and just adding little bits and pieces around 2 main images is just one thing you can do with them. I mean, I love when companies add these in. It just adds so much more that you can do with the stamp set. So I added some foam tape along the back of this red frame, and I'm just going to place that right over. You can see that I didn't worry about the hearts being cut out at all. I didn't think that really mattered, so I just stamped those wherever I felt like I wanted them. Now on the inside of this card, I'm going to be using the Happy Valentine's Day sentiment. It's also included in that stamp set, and I will stamp it in some black dye ink right inside an A2 white top folding card base that I've turned, and I'm going to be using it with the long side on top. Now also inside, I'm going to stamp 3 of these hearts, again the large and the medium and the small, in that same red dye ink, just for a little bit more added interest on the inside of the card. If you have the time and you have the supplies out, I just like to decorate the inside of the card as well, so it's ready to go whenever I need it. All we have to do is sign our family names and send it off in the mail. So to put this card together, the last thing I did was put some double-sided adhesive on the back of this panel, and I'm just going to mount it straight onto an A2 top folding white card base that I stamped that sentiment on the inside of. And that will finish off the card for today. Now you could dress this up as much as you wanted to. You could add some glossy accents to the eyes or enamel accents. You could make this into a really fun shaker card. It really is up to you where you would want to take this to the next level. But that is it for today. I hope you all are enjoying the blog hop, and as always, I will leave you with just a few pictures. For more information on this card, and also more information on the Clair blog hop, you can head over to my blog. I will leave that link in the description box below. As long as you go over there before January the 11th, you can enter into the contest to win a $25 gift card to the Clair Stamp Shop. Thanks so much for watching today, and happy crafting.